My fiancé announced, "I want a prenup. I'm not risking my future on you." I nodded, smart thinking. Then I had my lawyer draft one that protected everything I'd built. Her lawyers call when they realized I had 10 times more assets than she did. Original post I, 32 male, was sitting across from my fiancée Victoria, 29, at our favorite steakhouse when she dropped it on me. We'd been engaged for 6 months, together for 3 years, wedding planned for next summer. "Daniel, we need to talk about something important," she said, pushing her salad around. "Sure, what's up?" She straightened up, put on what I call her business face. "I want a prenup." I set down my fork. "Okay. I'm serious. I've worked too hard to risk losing everything in a divorce. My parents lost everything when they split, and I won't be in that position." "Makes sense," I said, taking a sip of water. She seemed surprised by my calm reaction. "You're not upset?" "Why would I be? It's practical." Victoria relaxed, smiling. "Oh good, I was worried you'd take it personally. It's just, I need to protect my assets. The marketing firm is really taking off, and I have my condo, my investments." "Totally understand. Smart thinking, actually." She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "You're amazing. Most guys would be offended, but you get it. I can't risk my future on anyone, even you." That stung a little, not gonna lie, but I kept my poker face. "So how do we do this?" I asked. "My lawyer is drawing up the paperwork. Standard stuff. We each keep what we bring into the marriage. No alimony. Separate property stays separate. Should be ready next week." "Sounds good. I'll have my lawyer review it." She laughed. "You don't have a lawyer. I'll get one." The rest of dinner she was practically glowing, talking about how mature we were being, how this would actually make our marriage stronger, because there'd be no financial concerns. What Victoria didn't know was that I'd been keeping my financial life very, very quiet. She knew I worked in tech consulting, but thought I was just another mid-level contractor. She'd never asked for specifics, and I'd never offered. See, 5 years ago, I developed a piece of software that streamlined inventory management for restaurants. Nothing sexy, nothing flashy, but it worked. I licensed it to a major hospitality company. The residuals alone were bringing in about $40,000 a month. Then there were my rental properties, 4 units, my investment portfolio, started investing when I was 18, compound interest is beautiful, and the sale of my previous startup that she thought had failed but actually sold for a nice 7-figure sum. I lived modestly. Drove a 2015 Honda Accord, lived in a decent but not fancy apartment, wore Target clothes. Why? Because I learned early that money makes people weird. I wanted someone to love me for me, not my bank account. Victoria, on the other hand, loved talking about her success. Her marketing firm had maybe 12 clients. Her condo was nice but heavily mortgaged. Her BMW, leased. But to hear her tell it, she was the next marketing mogul. That night, I called my college roommate, who was now a family law attorney. "Tommy, I need a prenup drafted." "Finally telling Victoria about your money?" "Nope. She wants a prenup to protect her assets from me." Tommy laughed so hard I had to hold the phone away from my ear. Update 1. Tommy sent me his best prenup specialist, a woman named Eleanor who looked like she ate hedge fund managers for breakfast. "Let me get this straight," Eleanor said, reviewing my financials. "Your fiancé thinks you're after her money?" "Apparently." She looked at the numbers again. "You have approximately 10 times her net worth. 12 times, actually, if you count the patent I just filed." Eleanor smiled like a shark. "This is going to be fun." Meanwhile, Victoria was getting more and more excited about the prenup. She'd even started making comments to our friends about how progressive and practical she was being. At a dinner party, she actually said, "I told Daniel straight up, I'm not risking my future on him." And he totally understood. He knows I'm the primary breadwinner. Our friend James nearly choked on his wine. He knew about my rentals because he was one of my tenants. I shot him a look that said, "Keep quiet." Victoria's lawyer sent over the first draft of the prenup. It was aggressive. She wanted all assets acquired before marriage remain separate, fair. No alimony for either party. Sure, any gifts over $500 must be in writing to transfer ownership. Okay? The engagement ring would be returned to her if we divorced. Wait, what? If we had kids, she would have final say on financial decisions regarding them. In case of divorce, I would vacate the marital home within 30 days, regardless of whose name it was. This is insulting, Eleanor said. She's treating you like a potential gold digger. Let her. Daniel, this is completely one-sided. She's protecting herself while leaving you exposed. I know. Draft our counterproposal, but don't send it yet. Eleanor's version was fair, truly 50-50. What's mine is mine, what's hers is hers, what we build together we share. Standard stuff, but with one addition: full financial disclosure. Both parties had to provide complete financial statements, tax returns, and asset listings. When do I send this? Eleanor asked. Wait for my signal. Victoria was practically giddy. She'd already told her mom about how she was protecting her empire, and how understanding I was being. Her mom, Judith, actually called to thank me for not being difficult. Most men would be threatened by a successful woman, Judith said. But you understand, Victoria has more to lose. Absolutely, I replied. She's definitely the successful one. Update 2. The meeting was scheduled for the following Thursday. Both lawyers, Victoria and me. Victoria came in wearing her best power suit, looking like she was about to close a Fortune 500 deal. Her lawyer, Mr. Garrett, was a silver-haired man who looked at me like I was something he'd scrape off his shoe. Now then, he started, I believe you've had time to review our terms? Eleanor smiled. We have a counterproposal. Victoria rolled her eyes. Of course he does. Eleanor slid our document across the table. My client agrees to all the basic terms with a few modifications, but first, we require full financial disclosure from both parties. That's standard, Mr. Garrett said, pulling out Victoria's financials. Eleanor pulled out mine. The room went silent. Mr. Garrett's eyes widened as he flipped through the pages. Victoria grabbed them from him. This can't be right. All verified and documented, Eleanor said smoothly. Victoria was turning pale. Daniel, what is this? My financial disclosure, like you wanted. She was frantically flipping pages. 4 rental properties, software licensing generating per month. This is a joke, right? No joke. Mr. Garrett cleared his throat. Perhaps we should take a brief recess. No, Victoria snapped. Daniel, why didn't you tell me about this? You never asked. You always said money shouldn't matter in love. But I thought. You thought what? That you were doing me a favor? That I was lucky to be with someone so successful? Eleanor interjected. Moving forward, my client proposes maintaining completely separate finances. Given the disparity in assets, he's willing to waive any claim to Ms. Victoria's business or properties, provided she does the same. Victoria was still staring at the papers. You sold a company for $2 million? 2.3 actually. And you drive a Honda. Great gas mileage. Mr. Garrett was sweating. Victoria, perhaps we should discuss. You let me think I was the successful one, she accused. You assumed. I just didn't correct you. This is fraud. Eleanor laughed. No, fraud would be hiding assets after agreeing to disclosure. My client has been under no obligation to share his financial status before marriage. Victoria stood up. I need air. She stormed out, Mr. Garrett scrambling after her. Eleanor looked at me. That went well. Update 3. The next 48 hours were insane. Victoria went through the entire emotional spectrum. Anger, confusion, denial, bargaining. First came the angry texts. You lied to me. You made me look like an idiot. Everyone thinks I'm marrying down. Then confusion. Why would you hide this? Were you testing me? Is this even real? Then denial. This has to be fake. You're trying to punk me. Very funny. Now show them the real documents. When she finally accepted it was real, the bargaining started. But not how you'd think. She didn't want access to my money. No, Victoria was too proud for that. She wanted me to hide it. She came to my apartment at 10 p.m. on Saturday. We need to talk. Okay. Nobody has to know about this, she said. We can keep the prenup as is. I'll protect my assets, you protect yours, but we don't tell anyone about your situation. My situation? You know what I mean. We can continue as we have been. I'll be the successful businesswoman, you'll be the supportive partner. You want me to pretend to be poorer than you? It's not pretending, it's just maintaining the narrative. My family, my friends, my business associates, they all know me as this successful independent woman who doesn't need a man's money. But you were fine with a prenup that basically treated me like a gold digger. That's different. That was protection. Protection from what? My Target wardrobe? She started crying. Not sad tears, frustrated tears. You don't understand. My whole identity is built on this. I'm Victoria Keller, the self-made success story. If people find out my fiancé is worth millions, what does that make me? Still Victoria Keller? No. It makes me the woman who's marrying up. The one who got lucky, the gold digger. The irony was so thick, you could cut it with a knife. So what do you want, Victoria? Keep everything separate, sign the prenup, but don't tell anyone about your money, and live the rest of my life pretending? You've been doing it this long. I wasn't pretending. I just lived my life. You're asking me to actively lie. She stood up. I need time to think. Take all the time you need. 2 days later, her mom called. Daniel, Victoria told me everything. Did she? How could you deceive her like this? She thought she was getting a simple, honest man. I am simple and honest. You're a millionaire pretending to be middle class. You trapped her. Judith, I never pursued Victoria. She pursued me, remember? At that coffee shop? Because she thought I looked safe and normal? Silence. She's humiliated, Daniel. Because I have money? Because you let her believe she was the superior one financially. I never said I was poor, she assumed. You should have corrected her. When? When she was going on about not needing a man's money? When she was bragging to everyone about being the breadwinner? When she demanded a prenup to protect herself from me? Judith hung up. Update 4. The entitlement escalation was spectacular. Victoria called a summit with her 3 best friends, Natalie, Chloe, and Rebecca. They invited me to Natalie's apartment for what I can only describe as an intervention. Daniel, Natalie started, we understand you're upset about the prenup. I'm not upset about the prenup. But this deception has to stop, Chloe added. Pretending to be rich to make Victoria look bad? That's abusive. I laughed. Wait, you think I'm pretending to be rich? Rebecca pulled out her phone. We did some digging. There's no record of you selling any company. Your LinkedIn says you're a consultant. Because I am a consultant. Making $40K a month? Chloe scoffed. Plus rentals, plus investments. Victoria sat there, arms crossed. They think you're lying to hurt me. Victoria, you've seen the documents. Documents can be faked. Eleanor had warned me this might happen, so I came prepared. I pulled out my phone and logged into my banking app, showed them the balance, then the monthly deposits, then the property tax statements from the city for my rentals. Silence. Natalie finally spoke. Holy shit. So now what? I asked. What's the intervention for? Me having money? Rebecca looked at Victoria. Vic, he's loaded. I know, Victoria snapped. So what's the problem? Natalie asked. Victoria stood up. The problem is he made me look like an idiot. For 3 years, I've been telling everyone I'm the successful one. I've been so condescending, telling him about investments, explaining basic finance stuff. And he just sat there. Taking notes, actually, I said. You had some good ideas about SEO marketing. Don't. Chloe was doing mental math. Wait, if he has all this money, why does he want to marry you? That hung in the air like a fart in church. Victoria turned on her friend. What's that supposed to mean? I mean, no offense, but if he's that rich, he could have anyone. Models, actresses, anyone. So I'm not good enough? The friends looked at each other uncomfortably. I'm saying maybe he actually loves you, Natalie offered. Or maybe it's a game, Victoria shot back. Rich guy pretends to be poor, finds a successful woman, makes her fall in love, then pulls the rug out. That's literally insane, I said. I fell in love with you because you were driven, funny, and we had chemistry. Your money never mattered to me either way. But you let me believe I was better than you. You chose to believe that, and honestly, the fact that you need to feel financially superior to your partner says more about you than me. She slapped me. Hard. Her friends gasped. I stood up. We're done. Daniel, wait, Natalie called. But I was already out the door. Update 5. The next morning, Victoria was at my door with coffee and an apology that wasn't really an apology. I shouldn't have hit you, but you have to understand how this looks from my perspective. A week ago, you wanted a prenup because you didn't want to risk your future on me. Now you're upset that I have money. Make it make sense. It's not about the money. It's entirely about the money. She pushed past me into my apartment. For the first time, she really looked around, started noticing things. The original art on the walls looked like prints from afar. The The watch I always wore, Patek Philippe but understated. The coffee maker, La Marzocco, not obvious unless you know. Oh my God, it was all there. I never hid, I just didn't flaunt. She sat on my couch, the one she'd always said was surprisingly comfortable for IKEA. It was actually a $15 custom piece made to look simple. The wine you brought to my parents' anniversary. 1982 Chateau Margaux. You said it was on sale. It was. For $1,800 instead of $2,000. She put her head in her hands. I'm such an idiot. No, you're just materialistic. Her head snapped up. Excuse me? Victoria, you've always measured people by their net worth. When you thought I had less, you were condescending. Now that you know I have more, you're angry. Either way, it's about money. That's not true. I loved you. You loved the idea of being the successful one dating down. It made you feel powerful. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. Remember when we went to your company party and you introduced me as the simple guy who keeps me grounded? Or when you told your ex at that reunion that you were into normal guys now, not pretentious rich jerks? She was quiet. I have a proposal, I said. Let's sign the prenup. Your version. The one where you keep everything and I get nothing. Then let's get married. Her eyes lit up. Really? On one condition. We tell everyone the truth about my finances. The light died instantly. I can't do that. Why? Because then everyone will think that you're marrying a rich guy? So? You don't understand. My brand, my reputation, your ego. She stood up. I need to think. That afternoon, I got a call from Mr. Garrett. Mr. Daniel, we need to discuss the prenup. What about it? Victoria wants to proceed with the original terms with one addition, which is a non-disclosure agreement about your assets. Eleanor was on three-way immediately. She wants him to sign an NDA about his own money? To protect both parties' privacy, Mr. Garrett said weakly. Eleanor laughed. Your client wants my client to legally agree to hide his wealth so she can maintain a false narrative? It's about privacy. It's about fraud, Eleanor countered. She wants to present herself as the wealthier party to business associates and investors. That's misrepresentation. I cut in. Tell Victoria no deal, full transparency or no wedding. Final update. The wedding was called off 3 weeks later, but not how you'd think. Victoria tried everything. She sent her mom to negotiate. Judith offered me a deal. Just don't mention your money for the first year of marriage. Let Victoria establish herself first. Establish herself as what? As the successful one. She is successful. She built a business. Why isn't that enough? Judith couldn't answer. Then Victoria tried to get my friends on her side. Called Tommy, convinced she was the victim. Tommy told her, Vic, you literally wanted a prenup to protect yourself from Daniel. Now you're mad he has money? That's backwards. The killing blow came from an unexpected source, her own lawyer. Mr. Garrett called Eleanor. I'm withdrawing from representation. Why? My client wants me to draft documents that would essentially hide material assets from business partners and investors. I can't be party to that. When Victoria found out her own lawyer dropped her, she went nuclear. Showed up at my office. She'd never bothered to visit before. Assumed it was some dingy co-working space. The receptionist called up. Mr. Daniel, there's a Victoria Keller here. She doesn't have an appointment, but she's insistent. My office was on the top floor, corner unit. When she walked in and saw the view, the mahogany desk, the whole setup, she just stood there. This is your office? Yes. How long? 3 years. Before we met? Yes. She sat down, deflated. I really never knew you at all. You knew me. You just didn't know my bank balance. That's part of you. It's really not. I'm the same guy who watches Netflix with you, who brings you soup when you're sick, who listens to your work drama. The money doesn't change any of that. It changes everything. Don't you see? Every time we went out, you let me pay because I made more. Every time I gave you advice about saving money or investing. Every time I condescended about teaching you about business. And you must have been laughing at me. I was loving you. There's a difference. She started crying. Real tears this time. I can't do this. I can't marry someone who makes me feel small. Victoria, I never made you feel small. You feel small because you based your entire self-worth on being richer than your partner. That's on you. So that's it? 3 years just done? You ended it when you decided your image was more important than our reality. She left the ring on my desk. The aftermath was predictable. Victoria told everyone I'd deceived her about having money. Some people bought it, most didn't. The story was too bizarre. He's evil because he's rich doesn't really track. She tried dating again immediately. Went after another normal guy named Nathan. Within a month, she was investigating his finances, convinced he was another secret millionaire. He wasn't. He was actually a teacher making 60 gale. She dumped him for being too poor after insisting money didn't matter. Her business struggled, not because of me, but because she'd built her entire brand on being the self-made woman who didn't need a man's money. When word got out, she'd tried to get an NDA to hide my wealth. Potential investors questioned her integrity. Last I heard from Judith, Victoria was in therapy, trying to understand why she needed to feel financially superior in relationships. Me? I'm doing fine. Started dating an ER doctor named Grace 6 months later. Told her about my money on the third date. Her response? Cool. Want to split the check? We're getting married next month, with a prenup. A fair one. The funniest part? Victoria sent me a message last week. I see you're engaged. Did you tell her about your money? First month. And she still wanted you? Crazy, right? Almost like some people value more than bank accounts. She blocked me after that. Looking back, I don't regret keeping my wealth quiet initially. It helped me find someone who loved me for me. I just wish that person had actually been Victoria. But when someone shows you who they really are, someone who needs to feel superior, who values image over truth, who'd rather live a lie than admit they're not the biggest fish in the pond, believe them. The prenup wasn't the problem. It was the mirror. And Victoria didn't like what she saw.